So I've been playing episode 4 of Brighter Shores for a little bit, and I got all the professions to level 20, and I have some thoughts. So to start off with, how do you get there? Alright, you just follow the main quest line, and the main skill requirements is level 20 miner, 65 levels in episode 3, and a 252 total level across all episodes. Easy enough. I want to start with the professions episode 4 has. And we start with the Watchwoman, which is literally just a reskin of the past 3 fighting professions. Boring, whatever. Still feels kind of clunky, kind of bad. Gear progression is the same, and gear upgrades still feel worthless. I'm really hoping in the next episode we get something better, because 4 episodes of this, it does kind of get really boring. The next profession, we do have the Merchant. It's basically just a glorified delivery boy simulation. And I feel less of a merchant and more of just a gopher, just bringing things to people. That's it. You pick up orders at the bounty board. You go, you buy the items, and then you deliver it to whoever's requesting it. That's it. We do get discounted pricings on certain items at certain levels, but I would have liked it to be more fleshed out. Maybe, you know, an activity to gain experience by haggling prices, or we actually run a store selling things to NPCs. For example, with the detective profession, which I'm going to talk about later, you catch thieves actively by watching the stall and seeing who's actually stealing from it. So in the same vein with merchants, we could recommend items to NPCs or something in that, you know, idea. But no, we just go around and we deliver things. So less of a merchant. They should have called it Uber Eats delivery profession. Leatherworker. Probably the most expensive crafting skill so far if you don't sell the leather and save it for armor crafting. Otherwise, if you do sell the leather, then you do make a decent amount of money with this skill. But I feel like a lot of people will want to try and save the leather for armor crafting in episode 5. Me personally, I just sell it. I'm gonna build up a bit of wealth while leveling this skill. And then when episode 5 comes out and then we unlock armor crafting, then I'll just start spending my money to get the required amount of leather and hides to make whatever armor pieces I need to make. And finally, we have detective, which is the more interesting profession that they have created in all of the episodes. It has a lot of variety in this one profession, a bunch of different things you can do. Definitely a breath of fresh air from all the gathering and crafting and the fighting that we've been doing. So you start off by watching over a stall, and then you catch thieves in the act of stealing things. They all act the same. They go up to the stall first instead of going to the stall keeper, and they do a shifty look to both sides, and then you just click on them and arrest them. It's simple, but you know, it's more interesting than the other stuff we got. And then we unlock den raids at level 4, where it's kind of badass. We break down a door and then we fight the thieves inside. We're basically raiding a building. So a nice mix of combat and non-combat professions. Kind of cool. I like it. And finally, we have investigation, where we actually do some detective work, although it is very simple. We go to the investigation board, pick up a crime job to do detective work, and then there's usually 2 locations you go to. You go there, you find the clue spot, has like a bunch of question marks on the floor, very easy to find. Check the clues in the 2 locations, then you go back to the police station, and then you have to pick the right person based on those 2 clues. Again, very simple, but the variety that this one profession has makes it the most interesting of all the professions so far, and I had the most fun doing this. One of the interesting parts of the den raids with detective, you actually can unlock a shortcut through the city. So usually for den raids, there are 2 in the same spot. And when you do one, that door stays open until you do the other one. If you plan it right, you can effectively create a shortcut for yourself through the city, which is kind of neat. Yeah, that's my favorite profession so far in Brighter Shores as a whole. Let's talk about a quick gripe. The city has 2 gates. This whole zone has 2 gates they have to go through depending on where you're going. First is the Cyclops gate, which is the gate you use to go from episode 3 to episode 4 before you unlock the portals. And then you have to go through the town gate to get into the city. Now, the animation is a bit long, and then you have to sit through like maybe a second or 2 of loading screen, which doesn't sound long, but when you have to do, say, a merchant job, some bounties require you to go to the Cyclops little village to drop off some items, and some takes you to a farm in the outskirts of the city. So having to wait for the gate to open and then sit through a loading screen makes those bounties more of a pain than something interesting. So people would usually just skip those bounties outright, which is kind of a shame, because that means people just avoid a certain part of this whole episode. They should have just made it more seamless. Maybe leave the gates open once we walk through it, because they know us already. You know, you don't have to close it every time. I don't know. People just avoid those bounties now though, so that's a shame. That was my main gripe. So based off episode 4, I have some thoughts on the future episodes. So first off, you guys already know my ideas on combat professions. Instead of each episode having a reskinned combat profession, let's just say episode 1, the guard, we have our melee profession. Episode 2, we have the scout, which we could have a focus on ranged attacks. Episode 3, mine fighter. I don't know, pickaxe, maybe magic. How they can make it different, how could they make it more interesting. I don't really need to dive more into that. I do like how creative they got with the detective skill, which makes me very interested in what they have planned for future professions, like what unique activities they have, right? So what would I want? We haven't gotten much in terms of magic, so we could have maybe different schools of magic in different episodes, okay? EXP activities, we could be writing magic scrolls, casting magic at dummies. For a passive activity, we could be reading tomes in a library. Hunting, we could be tracking, trapping, skinning. This could be something we can get deer hide from, one of the materials we need for leatherworking. Animal husbandry, raising livestock. We have cows, pigs, chickens. Okay, we could be cleaning the barn, scrubbing horses, milking cows, feeding chickens, right? And then we'll get the materials for leatherworking and cooking at the same time. Farming, we all know what farming is. Construction, we could be working on a construction site, doing random odd jobs there, right? And then eventually maybe build our own house. That would be cool. And then with carpentry together, make our own furniture, you know? Sailing, that'd be neat. Jewel crafting, accessory crafting. I'm sure they're planning on having that in the game anyways. So the, regular gathering gems and then crafting it into jewels. Simple stuff. So episode 5, we all know it's gonna come with armor crafting, since we're going to, what's that place called? Something Hill, where the dwarves are. And the leather worker told us that we won't be able to do anything with the leather until we get there to make armor. So yeah, armor crafting will be there. I will be extremely disappointed if they don't finish special attacks, at least if they add another combat profession in episode 5. Because I am kind of tired of leveling another combat profession the same way, same gear. It's kind of boring now. I need something new, something fresh, mix it up a little. At least special attacks. That's all I ask. That's all I want, right? Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 4. I probably won't make another video on Brighter Shores until that comes out. yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye bye.